Imagine a moment of hope amidst years of conflict. Families on both sides of a bitter divide. Israel and Gaza, bracing for the return of loved ones. But will this fragile peace hold? Authorities are scrambling to finalize the exchange of Israeli hostages held in Gaza for Palestinian prisoners detained by Israel, all before a critical Monday deadline. This swap, a key element of a ceasefire agreement, aims to bring an end to the devastating 2-year war in Gaza. Hamas, the militant group controlling Gaza, is obligated to release all living Israeli hostages within 72 hours of the deal's signing, a deadline culminating at noon local time. This involves the release of 48 hostages, though tragically, only 20 are believed to still be alive. An international task force is being assembled to locate the remains of hostages who won't be part of Monday's release, with many presumed to be buried beneath the rubble of the war-torn Gaza Strip. In a parallel move, Israel is set to release close to 2,000 Palestinian detainees. The majority of these individuals will either return to Gaza or be exiled to neighboring countries. And this is the part most people miss. The exact timing of their release remains unspecified, adding a layer of uncertainty to an already complex situation. The international stage is set too. U.S. President Donald Trump will be in Jerusalem on Monday, addressing the Knesset, the Israeli parliament, around the same time as the hostage-detainee exchange. He'll also meet with families of the hostages, offering support and solidarity. Following this, Trump will travel to Sharm el-Sheikh in Egypt, where he will co-chair a peace summit. This summit, attended by leaders from over 20 nations, aims to solidify a permanent truce in Gaza. While optimism is in the air, challenges remain. Trump, however, expressed confidence, stating they're all tired of the fighting, and emphasizing a consensus on the path forward. This hostage-detainee swap is the initial step in Trump's ambitious 20-point plan to bring an end to the Gaza war. A ceasefire is currently in effect since Friday afternoon, but many details of the Trump plan still require painstaking negotiation before a lasting peace can be established. Palestinians are desperately hoping that this ceasefire will evolve into a permanent end to the conflict. 2 years of an Israeli campaign have left Gaza devastated, resulting in the deaths of over 67,000 Palestinians and injuries to approximately 170,000. But here's where it gets controversial. Israel faces accusations of genocide in Gaza from a UN Commission of Inquiry and various human rights organizations. Is this a fair assessment, or is there another side to the story? Israel vehemently denies the genocide allegations, asserting that its actions during the war, launched in response to a Hamas-led attack that killed around 1,200 Israelis and resulted in 251 hostages, constitute self-defense under international law. This raises a crucial question. Where does self-defense end and disproportionate force begin? Inside Israel, preparations are underway to receive the returning hostages. They will be taken to a military base for examination before being transferred to hospitals, which have conducted drills simulating the releases. Haggai Angrest, whose son Matan is among the hostages, expressed his anticipation, saying, "We are very excited, waiting for our son and for all the 48 hostages." On Sunday night, tens of thousands gathered in Hostages Square in Tel Aviv, cheering as U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff spoke alongside Trump's son-in-law. Jared Kushner. "I dreamed of this night. It's been a long journey," Witkoff stated. The crowd enthusiastically praised Trump, but booed when Witkoff mentioned Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, a clear indication of the complex political landscape surrounding this event. Families in the occupied West Bank are also preparing to welcome their loved ones being released from Israeli jails. However, Israeli authorities have instructed families to refrain from overt celebrations and limit interactions with the media. This underscores the delicate nature of the situation and the potential for escalation. Of the roughly 2,000 Palestinian detainees slated for release, approximately 1,700 are from Gaza, while 250 are long-term prisoners including Palestinian leaders. About half of the 250 will be released to Gaza or exiled, while the other half will be released to the West Bank or East Jerusalem, further highlighting the intricate divisions within the Palestinian territories. Alongside the prisoner exchange, humanitarian groups are ramping up efforts to deliver aid to Gaza. COGAT, the Israeli military agency overseeing aid in Gaza, anticipates around 600 trucks entering the Strip daily, restoring aid to pre-war levels. The UN reports having 170,000 metric tons of food, medicine, and other crucial supplies ready to enter Gaza, pending Israeli approval. This includes tents, high-energy food for malnourished children, and menstrual hygiene supplies. This restoration of aid follows months of a severe Israeli siege on Gaza, which resulted in famine in certain areas, according to the world's leading authority on food crises. Tragically, at least 459 people have died from hunger over the past 2 years, with starvation spreading rapidly since May. The restoration of regular aid is a key provision of the Trump plan. The UN will resume its role in coordinating supplies into Gaza after months of being restricted by Israel. The future role of the private Gaza Humanitarian Foundation, GHF, which was intended to replace the UN in aid distribution, remains uncertain. The GHF's logistic sites in Gaza have ceased operations since the ceasefire agreement began. The GHF was largely considered a failure, with its distribution model plagued by overcrowding and death. Tragically, over 1,000 people were reportedly shot and killed by Israeli soldiers during daily scrambles for food at GHF sites, a chaotic situation that aid groups attributed to the foundation's militarized approach. But here's a counterpoint. The GHF has consistently denied any wrongdoing, raising questions about accountability and responsibility. The U.S. will deploy up to 200 troops in Israel to assist in establishing a task force for stabilization efforts in Gaza. While no U.S. troops will be stationed within Gaza, they will advise the Civil Military Coordination Center, CMCC, from within Israel. Admiral Brad Cooper, head of U.S. Central Command, met with Israeli military chief Eyal Zamir while traveling to Gaza alongside Witkoff and Kushner, emphasizing the importance of establishing the CMCC. So as the world watches, will this fragile agreement pave the way for lasting peace? Or is it just a temporary respite in an ongoing conflict? What are your thoughts on the accusations of genocide against Israel? And do you believe the aid distribution efforts are truly addressing the needs of the Gazan people? Share your perspective in the comments below.